this dumb shit for y'all. I swear to God. Back to my channel. It's Tyra here with another struggle review, here to discuss Do the Right Thing, a Spike Lee joint, a 1989 Spike Lee joint. 1989, the number, another get down, a sound of the funky drummer, music hitting your heart because you know you got soul, rapping this disco. Okay, I'm sorry. You know, I can't just, they just go together. As soon as I think of Do the Right Thing, of course, we think of Radio Raheem and Rosie Perez pumping extra fucking hard in the beginning of the movie with her gloves on doing her thing. Now, before I get into this movie, what I love about it, what I love about Spike Lee as a writer, a producer, and a director, I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm going to give you guys a moment to do that, and then we're going to come back and discuss all things a Black director who elevated Black film. Hopefully subscribe to see more of me. Let's get into this movie. Now, before we jump right into Do the Right Thing, I just want to take a moment on Mr. Spike Lee. I credit this director, this man, and a few others with me just falling in love with film and looking at things, beyond the surface level. Watching Spike Lee films, those were my first experiences of looking at things like hues and color, lighting, really paying attention to the script, trying to find deeper meaning in what's going on, the undertones, that cinematography, that beautiful direction, settings. I credit him for doing that, and I don't think he gets enough credit as a writer. Not just a writer. Then we have a director, and then you're also a producer. And it just, his situation always makes me think of Tyler Perry. I don't try to knock anybody's hustle because Tyler Perry takes much pride in him, having those credits, that writer, director, producer situation. But it's like an oranges and apples situation. Like it's totally different when you're doing all three things and the content is immaculate. So immaculate that even Spike Lee's mistakes, his mistake films like Crooklyn, she got good hair, she got Puerto Rican hair. Crooklyn was like a whole failure, did horrible at the box office. But Crooklyn is beloved and held to a whole step. Queen it! It's a whole thing, boy, Troy. Even your mistakes are bomb-ass films. Now, getting into this film, you would think, I found out, just talking to people about this film, a lot of people do think that this is his directorial debut. It is not. His first film is, She's Gotta Have It, Our Lovely Nola Darling. And then we also have his second film, School Days, G5G, that's what we want to be. G5G, that's what you want to be. G5G, that's what you want to be. Hey, don't get me started. Don't be having me and my whole Spike Lee bag. Don't play. With this being his third film, I feel like this is where he really got the idea of the type of director he wanted to be. And this is when we see, those Spike Lee films trope really push forward. And we really speak, about things like race. We see him continue to use, the same actors again, our Ruby D, our Ossie Davis, our Bill Nunn, Samuel Jackson, so on and so forth. We get into him, continuing to star in his movies. We get into, those long trolley shots of people, talking, and he's pulling them on that dolly. And we get into things like his dad being the musician. He's a jazz musician. Bill Lee continuing, play the jazz in all of his films. But we really get into our bag of, this is what I want my films to look like. I want my films to make a statement. And he's continued that throughout, you know, especially early on in his career. But we saw that even prior to this film, you know, with Nola Darling and her being, you know, open with her sexuality, making that statement, her and Mars, that whole situation. And, you know, even with School Days, him speaking on, you know, fraternities and them divesting and all those things. And then here we really get into the racial tension of it all. And this is where he shines. And we also get into his direction and him making New York look like the best place on earth. Every single one of his films that are based in, you know, New York, it is always a love letter to New York. Everything, you can tell he really has love for his city, and it shines so much on screen. But now that I have, you know, given all my flowers to Spike Lee, let's get into this film. Now, getting into the film, we get into the opening and it pulls you in immediately and sets the tone for what type of film this is going to be. And the intensity is set right off the bat with the first with Rosie Perez as fresh off the Soul Train, giving it all to you, fighting the power all up in that camera. Like, the lighting is perfect. It's all, you know, it's all intense, and it's just stank coming up off of Rosie. It's beautiful. She's like punching, you feel it. You like they're coming out the gate swinging immediately. And then we have the music, the backdrop, that Fight the Power by Public Enemy. Now, I am a mad hip hop fan. Of course, I know who Public Enemy is. And if you know Public Enemy, they're about something. They're preaching, they're speaking to the people. They're very, you know, Black power, very militant, strong-minded group. And we have, you know, Black, you know, Fight the Power? What? Fight the Power. I got a letter from the president the other day. I opened and read it. It said they were suckers. Oh, my favorite. Yes, the rhythm, the rebel. Without a pause, I'm lowering my level. Like, Chuck D is that dude. So to have that backdrop of Chuck D with all that bass in his voice and Rosie Perez giving you all of this in the camera, oh, we set the tone. Absolutely love it. One of the best intros ever. We also get into, you know, people pulling you in like Senior Love, Daddy Samuel Jackson, wake up, up you wake, up you wake. There's always a reference to waking up in Spike's movie. You know, he's always like, message. He's always trying to, you know, put something in there. But we get, you know, him pulling us in and making everything feel really small and really getting us into this neighborhood. We also get into the cinematography. It's so much color, so much red, everything looking, the hue, the tint on the film, making it really intense because it looks so hot. Everybody looks so sweaty. And as you know, we get introduced into Mookie. You know, I never knew until, you know, I got older. You know, Mookie was a fuckboy. I had never paid any attention to that until I watched the film when I was older. Like, always late to work, comes and goes as he pleases at his jobs, take, you know, midday shower breaks. It's never on time. Doesn't really have a whole lot of income. Lives with and off of his sister. Has fresh ass gear, fresh ass cut, fresh ass Jordans, but doesn't make time to see or take care of his son. Whole fuckboy out here. I just was like, oh. Now, once we meet Sal and his two sons, Pino and Vito, introduced to them, and especially Sal, you just see a happy businessman who's happy to be in this neighborhood, run his business, takes so much pride in his place, his product, very familiar, has been here for years, and is, you know, opening. Regular day. And then you get into those subtle hints of racism that Spike drops in the writing. I love how it just coasts through the film. And it's just, you know, not so much to be overbearing, but it's enough to, you know, get a rise out of the audience and get you invested in the type of person that this character is when we get into, you know, Pino and Vito, the sons, and you have one son who just completely detests the area, feels like it's beneath him. We're Italians. I'm Italians. We need to have Italian customers. Why can't we move the business? This is, you know, ugh. And then we have the other brother, the younger brother, who doesn't mind the atmosphere or the neighborhood or the people and has a mutual, really fun relationship with Mookie as a friend. And he doesn't see so much color as just, you know, these as people. So it's nice. We immediately get that friction right there. And that's just within the family. So when we throw Mookie into the pizzeria, it's a whole stirred pot. But I love that after we're, introduced to Mookie, we are gradually introduced to everybody in the neighborhood. Not only Sal and, his two sons, Vito and Pino, but we get introduced first to, characters like the mayor, mother, sister, and Smiley, and, so on and so forth. And it really, makes it seem approachable with them not having, distinctive names. But we have names like a Smiley or the mayor or mother, sister. It's like, these people. These people could be anyone, mother, sister, that, older, wise woman in the neighborhood who's always watching, sitting from her window, being nosy. The mayor who's, really old and wise, but just happens to have a drinking problem. And then characters like my name is Miley. That whole situation where he's, Malcolm. He's trying to sell, like, we know these people. He kind of stuttering, little special needs, but Smart's trying to get his dollar. We know these people, and everything just seems so familiar, even though this is, a Brooklyn neighborhood. Everybody's not from Brooklyn, but we know a mother, sister, we know a DeMayor, and we definitely know a fucking Smiley. Now, I also love that within this film, and I'm always speaking on, giving us time with these characters. Where's the character development? There is more character development here than you could ever need. There are so many characters on screen, and it's not one character here that you feel like is obsolete. I don't know this person. I don't feel like, what are they about? Why are they here? Spike Lee makes it a point for you to get enough time with everybody. Even the teens were introduced, sitting on the stoop, and, we get a character, Martin with his lips, man, goddamn, man, we get into, their place in the neighborhood. And then we meet stronger characters who have more prominence, like our Radio Raheem, Bill Nunn. Gonna miss Bill Nunn. I always love the presence that he brings on screen, especially in Spike Lee film. And I love how they set up that Radio to be so prominent in the story. And you see Radio initially, instantly feared / respected just off the strength of his radio. This is what he does in the neighborhood. This is a part of his character. This is, a part of his body. This is essential to him. This is Radio Raheem. He carries this radio, he blasts it the fuck off, and you move out of the way, and we keep it pushing. We set that height immediately, and I love it because it pays off in the end when we have, I just killed your fucking radio. And you're like, not this whole radio we've been walking with the whole movie. Like, it's perfect. I love it. Everything is set up here. This movie is like borderline perfection. Character has a moment for you to know who they are. Like, is that too much to ask for? I don't think so. Even with, Rosie Perez, and this being her first role, in her not even having, she doesn't have a ton of dialogue. When I tell you, you need to get a fucking job, Mookie. Like, she has so much presence on screen with the time that she has, and they set it up perfectly for her to be that baby mom who is just sick, who still, kind of fuck with her baby father. Like, she want to leave him alone, but she can't. And they just happen to have this baby, she's in the Bronx, it's hot, it's Puerto Rican, it's horrible. But it's so great. We know exactly who she is. And, lastly, we get into other essential characters, like the people that are just in the neighborhood, just, bystanders, like our 3 men sitting under that shade. We know, I don't even know where you stay, but I know 3 dudes right now who just sitting under a shady tree, a shady part somewhere, just talking shit in front of something. We know these people. This is also, where we meet the fabulous Robin Harris, pre-house party, and he's dropping those hints of comedy that we get in the film. We get comedy, courtesy of him and a couple of other characters, but I love those comedic undertones to kind of undercut the racial tension that's going on, so it's just not so intense at all times. Like, the movie does a really good job of playing on your emotions and placing you where you need to be to follow this film. But after we open the small door to problems, in the pizzeria, not too much Sal just being Sal, like, I just want the day to run. This is, what they do on the daily, the back and forth, the banter, the older brother not wanting to be there, but since I'm here, I want some form of control. No, you go sweep. No, you go sweep. No, you go deliver. No, who's in charge? Everybody shut the fuck up. We just making pizzas. Not too much. But once we throw bugging out in there, bugging out, you bugging out. When you bug out, you usually have a reason for the action. So this is not that kind of review. Ain't no tropical course right now. R.I.P. 5 Dog. But we are introduced to Bugging Out, who is instantly, you know, rambunctious and pops off on screen. And he's, you know, we see right away, he's a little high strung and really woke and really pro-black. We just see him ask a simple question when he walks into the pizzeria to get a slice. Yo, why you ain't got no brothers up on the wall? Michael Jackson, you know, Michael Jordan. What the brothers ain't on the wall? Like, and we get into, you know, that age-old, you know, disagreement. You are in this neighborhood, Sal, because you see, you know, we have later on a conversation between Sal and his son when he wants to know, why can't we open a pizzeria in our own neighborhood with our own people? And Sal lets it be known, it's already too many pizzerias in this Italian neighborhood. There isn't many here. So we make so much profit here, you know, with these black customers, with these people. This is why we do business here. But even though we do business here, we have nothing but Italians on the wall, even though we are servicing black people. And it's just, you know, bugging out, wanting to, there's so many instances here of just people wanting to be heard and wanting to have an opinion and wanting to go, hey, look at me. I'm here. I have an opinion. Listen to me. And you have bugging out. You know, I just want some brothers on the wall. I pay my money. I spend mad money here. Put some brothers on the wall. And you have Sal, who is very much in the right. This is my pizzeria to do with as I please. If I want to have all Italians on the wall, even though, you know, you guys are spending money and I do make a profit off of this predominantly black neighborhood, this is my pizzeria. You want some brothers up on the wall, get your own shit. That's when the shit starts. But I really just love that conversation of us seeing a black person who really wants to dictate how he's treated in this, you know, establishment, this restaurant, so on and so forth. But we can't really dictate or, you know, throw things out there because we don't have the ownership. Like, I heard you, Spike. I love once we really get into Mookie delivering pizzas, damn near every person he encounters on the street is like foreshadowing what's going to come towards the end of the movie. You know, you have the mayor saying, you know, do the right thing. You have Bugging Out, making sure he tells him to stay black all the time. You have the DJ on the radio saying, you know, wake up. You have even Smiley trying to sell him those pictures of, you know, Martin and Malcolm, trying to, you know, give him a message. There is a message placed in his face every time he steps out that pizzeria throughout that day that foreshadows what's going to happen towards the end. You smart, you kind, you is important, Spike. But even though we have these really, you know, intense scenes about to happen and we have that tension coming, we are sure to have, you know, cool down, calm, beautiful cinematography moments, you know, with bomb-ass soundtracks like, you can't stand it, I know you can't stand it, you can't stand the heat. And we have that lovely montage of everybody cooling off in the water and totally amazing. But we are sure to sprinkle in some of that tension, you know, with the Italians, with the policemen, with the neighborhood kids, you know, trying to, you know, I'm just trying to cut on the fire hydrant so we can cool off. And you see immediately, you know, the police in the neighborhood are not there to protect, but to patrol and just show dominance around the community. Like, get that out of my face. And then it's at this point that we get into one of the best scenes in the movie with Bugging Out in his A1 scuffed ass Jordans. Like, I love, man, I'll fuck you up two times. But this scene is also really, really important because we get into, you know, Bugging Out strife and why he is the way he is and why things escalate so far towards the end. Now, once we get into, you know, those sneakers being scuffed, man, them shits is jacked, man, them shits is fucked. Fucking love Martin. This is like one of his best, you know, early on roles with him just acting and not trying to be Martin because he wasn't Martin yet with his lift. Man, with the, but you see, you know, you hear the crew antagonizing Bugging Out. And the same way Radio Raheem has his radio, you see that Bugging Out being, you know, conscious and being woke and trying to, you know, he wants his place in the community to just be someone and be respected and have a voice. And with them antagonizing, you know, who told you to stand on my side of the street? Who told you to walk on my side of the block? Why don't you go back to Massachusetts? I was born in Brooklyn. Oh, you know, that that whole damn situation. And then, you know, on the four you have on the background, you know, the crew, them damn teenagers antagonizing and taunting. Man, you just gonna let him fuck your shit up like that? Like he wanted to be respected and to have a voice. And he felt like he didn't get that from his community. You see him so often trying to stop and conversate with people, stop and conversate with Jade, stop and conversate with Mookie, stop to, you know, have something for somebody to hear these conscious things that he is saying, but he just feels like nobody's listening. And since he felt like nobody was listening, towards the end, he was going to get somebody to listen to what the fuck he had to say. So after we just, you know, go out of our way to create tension, you know, through the conversations had with the family at Sal's, through, you know, the cops passing by and they're, you know, what a waste with the three men, you know, sitting under the tree and, you know, break it down. I'm going to break it down. Well, let it be broke then, motherfucker. Like, when we get into that and we even get, you know, the tension with the man sitting, you know, under there and just being so upset that, you know, that Korean family can come over and open a business out of nowhere on, you know, on this block. I can't even do that. And there's just so much talk about, you know, what other races can do in our neighborhoods and just people not feeling like they have liberties and freedoms that other people do. After that, we have like, it's not, we can't even say like the best scene. Like, there are multiple best scenes. We get into Spike Lee and Pino having that damn conversation about, you know, hey, I don't respect this, and you don't respect this, and you're all this towards black people, but your favorite fucking people are black people. You love all your favorite entertainers, your favorite basketball players, your favorite superstars are all black. And I love that conversation of him holding those type of black people to a certain standard. He's like, well, you know, they're not really black. They're like, you know, this. And, you know, they have that whole, you know, fuck Frank Sinatra, fuck Michael Jackson, and fuck, it's like, damn. It's just so good. It's just so in your face. And, you know, even smaller scenes creating friction within the neighborhood with, you know, that young. I love that this man, like, he has been in a couple of, you know, Spike Lee's film, you know, 5% of the black man who knows what's really going on, you know, the whole Mobile Blues. Like, I love that scene that creates, you know, friction between old and new, and, you know, what respect should be and what it is currently. And, you know, the man go, you don't know, you ain't been peeing straight. You don't know nothing until you listen to your 5 children crying hungry for bread, and you can't do nothing about it. You don't know shit. And it's first of all, I've been praying straight for years. And you're right, I wouldn't listen to my 5 children crying hungry for bread, because I will be out working, getting a job, doing anything for the like. No, because you walk up dumb, deaf, and blind. Like, I love that kid. Like, he should have got more work. I absolutely loved him. But after that, we get into another great scene of Spike, you know, flipping that camera around and zooming in on each character of a different race to share their, you know, racially slurred, motivated ass opinions on other characters who are a different race, you know, whether they're black, Korean, Italian, white, Jewish, son of them bitch. What the fuck is a son of them bitch? I just want to know. Like, you black ape monkey take you, like, damn, it is such a great scene because it's just so in your face. It's like, this is the type of shit y'all on. Like, does anybody like anybody? But it's so brutally honest. Like, it's not hiding behind anything. It's calling a spade a spade. This is how these people feel. So once again, once we get to that ending, it's already set up for us to feel that tension, but it's not hitting you over the head. It's very entertaining. Now, after we have followed Raheem through this neighborhood, you know, blasting everywhere, and this is what he is known for, even that, you know, brief volume competition with the Puerto Ricans and a little high five with a kid. Like, Raheem is not only that dude, but he's respected with this radio and gets respect through this radio, which is when we get into, you know, him going to get 2 slices from the damn pizzeria, and Sal, as he can do, this is his business. I need you to turn that down so I can focus. But he's not hearing, I need you to turn it down so I can focus. It's too loud. You know, he is hearing, you want me to turn myself off. You want me to turn my pride and joy off. You want me to turn my respect off. I don't, just give me my fucking slices. And that's when we really get into the dead ass tension that's happening within the film. And we get a mutual understanding between bugging out and goddamn Radio Raheem. That whole thing happened, and the way it happened was beautifully because you both see two people who are looking for acceptance and takes pride in two different things. Radio Raheem takes pride in his radio, being able to blast his music, all his, great conversation. And then you have, Bugging Out, who wants, a little bit more dominance in the neighborhood, who's very, pro-black, he takes pride in being conscious. So he wants some brothers on the wall. Michael Jackson, get some brothers on the wall. Michael Jordan. And then you have, Raheem, who just wants to play his music. And they feel like Sal is not only, being disrespectful, but you're trying to take away who I am. You're trying to fuck with my pride, bruh. Even though it was not that. Sal was just trying to run his business the way he wanted to run his business, as he could, because it was his business. But I love that mutual conversation, goddamn Bugging Out running around the neighborhood, and you weren't going to find one person to join you and boycott the pizzeria because this is the neighborhood pizzeria. Sal, at this point in the movie, is beloved in the community. Boy, how that changed towards the end. Now, I also love that even though, we're midway through the movie and the day is winding down and we see the sun going down and some of that profusely sweating starts to kind of wind down, even though the characters are winding down, Spike is still mindful to put tension in between the wind downs. So we see, the mayor save a little boy from an ice cream truck, and mother sister kind of warm up to him and, him bring her flowers, wind down. But then we also have, Vito and Pino having this intense conversation because he feels like, his younger brother is going astray. You're not listening to me. You're listening to Mookie more than you listen to me. You listening to this Mulian more than you listen to me. I'm your brother. Like, you have that going on. And then you have, even more wind down, with like Mookie and Tina, who's been really intense this whole movie, with not only him dedicating the song to her on See Your Love Daddy Radio, but also, going over to drop dick off and leave. All right, no, he didn't go over there. He actually went over, to put ice on the left nipple, ice on the right nipple, thank God for elbows, thank God for eyelashes and eyebrows. I don't know. Went over there to put a little ice on, cool her off. Typical baby daddy fashion. We just coming by. We not staying. But even with that, we also have moments of Spike being very upset because, his sister Jade is going into, the pizzeria, and, Sal is kind of flirting like he want a little brown skin, you know what I'm saying? He's flirting and, it's making him feel uncomfortable, and it's also making, his sons feel uncomfortable. It's like, ugh, like, what do you even see in her? And then you have Spike who's like, I don't want you in here. He's, treating you this, like, it's still undercutting with that tension. Completely beautiful. And we have more talks of Bugging Out, making sure to create that, that strong tension between him and Sal, and him popping up, because we're going to boycott your fat pasta ass, popping up with all those good things. But we also have, funny elements, like with Radio Raheem, radio's dying, and he's going to, get batteries, and it's 20 batteries, 20 D motherfucking batteries, D motherfucker D. What's the date on them shits? Marcha. What the fuck is a marcha? Count them shits again. Hilarious. And things, I just want to know why your mama named you Sweet Dick. Who named you Sweet Dick Willie? Just great. All the while we have, a whole pot of confusion stirring about to just boil over. So while we have things winding down, we have, Smiley walking around winding down, everything just coming to a close when shit is about to blow up and you ain't even know it. You ain't know. Now, closing out with things boiling over, of course, we have Mookie this entire film, because he has that fuckboy mentality at this point, who has been trying to get paid early when he has not even finished his work day and is always late and all these other things. But he's been trying to get paid early, which permits him to be in the diner at the time. Of course, we have Sal and his sons in the diner trying to close. And then we have, the little neighborhood stoop crew who's, trying to get a slice. The diner's open now. Everybody's there just by, happenstance. And it just seems so natural and it flows so well. At which we have Bugging Out and Radio Raheem bust into the damn pizzeria, and shit just explodes from there. And we get, I want some motherfucking black people on the motherfucking Wall of Fame now. It's just such an escalation from there. And it's just so intense because you already know deep down as an audience, this isn't about Sal. This isn't about his pizzeria. This is about these two men wanting to be respected and have some dominance, which they just feel like they don't have within their own community. And they feel like Sal is just another entity stepping on that and trying to take that away by not putting black people on this wall, by, asking someone to turn down their radio, by, being a certain way, their son in here who's racist as fuck. But it just goes from there. And the tensions just start to rise as the racial things are exchanged. At this point, Sal didn't, say too much. It was just very, no, son, and we can't think that way. This is my, he's just walking on sunshine, taking pride in his pizzeria. But once there's just so much, and he just feels like, there's so much on his shoulder, and you've had Bugging Out antagonizing him all day about, boycotting and throwing slurs at him. And they were just, being really, really adamant and going at the both of them. Like, y'all get out of here with that. Mookie's like, I'm trying to go home. We're trying to get out of here. Like, nah, we're trying to get some pizza. But once Sal actually takes it that step further and goes, you fucking nigga monkeys babble. Like, oh, we niggas now? Like, really, Sal? That just really negates everything that Bugging Out and any of them ever said, because there was once again, Sal trying to meet violence with violence and, racial slurs with racial slurs. Once he matched their energy, shit just escalated and everybody just felt totally disrespected. And then once we get into Sal beating the shit out of Radio Raheem's radio, boy, when I tell you the tension got thick. Tension got thick. It was like everything just came to a standstill and everybody was silent. It was like, did you just see that radio we've been following this whole movie? That radio that he's been taking care of, this heavy ass boom box that he's been walking around holding. Love KO'd hate. Like, I love that love KO'd hate scene. That was just another, foreshadowing of the tension that was later to come with Mookie. Every time Mookie met someone, they was knowledge. That mean when dude be like, everything was there. But once we hit that, I just killed your fucking radio. It's like, that was all that Raheem had. Like, you didn't just kill my radio. You killed me as a person. Was Radio Raheem and Bugging Out in the right? Hell no. You can't come in here demanding things. This is not your place of business. If you feel that way about it, just take your business elsewhere and you boycott the place. But you can't physically force someone to do something, even if you do feel smited because they don't have no brothers up on the wall. But Sal didn't, turn the other cheek. He met their violence with his violence and broke that fucking radio and proceeded to get choked the fuck out, and everything blows up in an all-out brawl. And then we finally get to the scene that will always, unfortunately, keep this film relevant, which is, those racial cops that have been, just waiting. Those cops were waiting, especially that real tall, buff, blonde one. They were waiting for a moment just to, we waited on some shit to pop off. All we needed was a reason. And this was their reason. Of course, when the cops roll up, they don't, try to de-escalate the situation. They do try to break up the fight, because at this point, everybody is, in the street. Everybody's come out of their brownstones trying to figure out what's going on. It's a whole lot of brawl, people. And at this point, like, radio is trying to choke the shit out of Sal. Like, Sal is purple. Like, bitch, you killed my fucking radio, bitch. No. But they immediately, as Bugging Out said, like, you're not going to go for them. You immediately go for us. I'm a black man. I'm a black man. You can't fucking kill us all. There's just so much tension, at which we see what we are all too familiar with. This officer taking it a step further, not to just arrest these two men. We arrest Bugging Out, but we have that one officer who's really, really ready to take it a step further and chokes Radio Raheem the fuck out into his death. We get into those things like that in so much, comparison into what's going on right now and the whole I can't breathe movement and cops, escalating situations, taking it too far, knees on necks, knees on back, strangulation, all these things to where black men are losing their lives. So once the community saw that, and the people saw, oh, don't even get, they're beating, bugging out as he's going off, I'm a black man, and I'm, just really intense. And then it's that, that age old, stop faking it, you get the fuck up. Like, he's clearly dead. He's clearly dead. But, that never recollects to these type of officers until the person is actually dead. And we do have, officers, like, that's too much, just stop. They're just speaking. They're not physically trying to do anything, but they're saying, you need to stop, you taking it too far. And he's like, shut the fuck up. Like, this is what I've been waiting on all day. I just needed a fucking reason. And once everybody, actually sees this and they, throw his body in the car as to, maybe go, he's not actually dead. He's, passed out. We're going to carry him off. No, he's dead. And we all know about it. And we all saw it. We all saw it. So at this point, whatever happened with the situation, with the radio, with him strangling Sal, with the fight, with them being in the wrong, that all just got thrown out the window just because this man just seemingly lost his life behind a radio. Was it about more than a radio? Of course. But us on the outside looking in, whatever it was about, it wasn't worth him losing his life. So at this point, we don't give a damn about Sal. We don't give a damn about this pizzeria. We just want justice. And we know there is no justice for us in our own community. And you hear them, mention names. And I love that Spike always plays, names and victims, whether it's, graffiti or chalk in his movie somewhere. And you hear, this person, that person dead, murdered. It's the same thing. He didn't have to lose his life. And you see this community go for what most communities go for, which is, acting out of violence and rioting, because this is all we have. There is no justice for us. What are we going to do? Call the police, those same police who just did this and killed this young man? We can't, talk to anybody. There's no one to turn to, no one to go to. All we have that's our own is this neighborhood. And all we see right now is you in this neighborhood creating friction, creating a problem that has someone lose their life, even if they were in the wrong. We are frustrated. We need to express ourselves and take some tension out. That turns into, vandalism, rioting, and Mookie, radio, throwing the whole, trash can through the window because, there's so much talk of, Mookie, make sure you do the right thing. Make sure you blah, 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 and, wake up. And at that moment, Mookie felt like that was the right thing to do because, that was the catalyst to start that riot, him throwing it through the window like, this is what I feel is right. Was it right? Was it right, y'all? Drop it in the comments. I'm not going to say my answer. We try to keep followers out here. So at that point in the film, we just get into an all-out riot. And this riot is just to say, see me, recognize me. We, hold ground here. We are people too. Is it going about the right way? Did this whole situation? No. But this is what it is. And, we just have to reckon it because I love, when the riot actually happens and the older brother goes, oh, you fucking niggas. This is just what you guys do. And it's just like, nobody ever takes the time to recognize why people are so frustrated that they are doing that. Of course, now it's more so turned into a looting situation sometimes, and that's always the point of what we see, plastered on the news. But a lot of people who are participating in these riots, especially now, outside antagonists, and even prior to that, when it was just an all-out riot, just like we saw in this movie, it's because people feel like they don't matter, and they are frustrated, and they are trying to express themselves, and this is the only way they can, channel their anger, is to destroy. I'm not going to destroy myself. I can't destroy you. Police aren't helping. I'm going to destroy what you love, this fucking pizzeria. And boy, do they destroy it. It's so beautiful, beautifully shot, how things just transition and turn into this all-around riot, and things, begin to be slow motion. And you see everybody in this neighborhood that we followed throughout the day who were separately in their own spaces. Everybody comes together with a mutual understanding of needing justice and wanting to see change and wanting to see this fucking pizzeria burned to the ground. after that, and we get into the ending, and we have, you know, that great conversation between like everything. I love Spike movies. He always have, you know, these open-ended endings, and you just be like, what happened? What? That's it? But this was, you know, more of a I think one of the better ones, because we get into Mookie, who is now, you know, still like, I still want my money. Yes, we watched your fucking pizzeria burn to the ground, but I want my money. And you have, you know, a conversation back and forth, and then you have a mad ass Sal give him $500, and you have Mookie show growth on his part, because the Mookie that we saw throughout the film this whole day, he would have took that entire $500 and ran with him. He's like, no, I only want what's owed to me. I only want, you know, your respect, and I want what's owed to me. You take this back. And it's like, you know, something wrong with you? You okay? And it's like, no. And you get to what he's been saying, I'm gonna get paid, I'm gonna go home to my son. And we open with how we ended with, you know, seeing your love daddy on the radio. And it's, you know, everything just kind of comes full circle, and the day keeps going like pretty much like nothing happened. That fucking pizzeria is gone though. I absolutely love this movie. Like, it just speaks on so much, and it's so beautifully shot, and Spike does such a good job in every element. I think that if you're like studying film and elements to, you know, what makes a good film, whether it's cinematography, acting, scripts, character development, this would be like the perfect, you know, case study for everything you need to equate to something being good and so massive. And we know that it is, because now to this day it's still considered, you know, a classic, and it's still discussed just like me discussing it now. But I love this movie. I love like a plethora of Spike Lee movies, but this, you know, happens to be one of my favorites. But that was my Throwback Thursday review for this film. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I really like, y'all don't know, it was a struggle for me this week, you know, all my sinuses and allergies being all sick and congested. Y'all can hear it a little bit, right? I sound a little Barry White in the voice. Yeah, that's what that is. But I'm so glad that you guys joined me for this. Please drop down and comment, share the video, like the video. I would like for this video to get some type of, you know, some type of something, so I can know, oh, you know, they fucks with this. I should do more of this. Like, you know, y'all come on, give me some feedback. Drop down in those comments. Let's get the conversation going. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.